Good evening, and welcome to First Wednesday at Faith. I'm Debbie Knudsen, and the Associate Pastor here at Faith Church. We are glad to have you with us tonight, whether you've joined us live and in person here, or you're live streaming with us from home. We are excited to have you be part of this. Our First Wednesdays, as you know, have been about bringing topics that are of concern to our whole community and looking at them and saying, what are the resources that are available to help us with challenges, and where can we go for help, as well as how can we help one another. And so if you've been with us, you know that we've gone through a few different topics starting in October. We started out with how do we overcome addiction with recovery, and we featured the Wayside Recovery Center. In November, we talked about connecting with teens in a disconnected world and had some resources available for parents and teens to just get more connected. And then in December, we dove into the mental health issues and brought in some therapists talking about mental health and how it's just as important to take care of our mental health, especially during COVID, as our physical health. And so trying to bring resources and the help that we need as a community, as well as coming alongside one another. Tonight, we're going to be delving into the whole concept of food insecurity, what that is, and how we can help even prevent homelessness. And we're going to hear from the experts at ICA, and that's one of our ministry partners. We're excited to have them here tonight, and they'll be telling us more about the work that they're doing and how we can come alongside, as well as how we can get help if we need it. So we want to be addressing all of those things tonight, and we're glad to have you with us. We're going to start out the evening with Sarah and just kind of set the mood with some music, which is wonderful. We'll come back for a few announcements, and then after the presentation, we will open it up for questions. And so if you're here in the audience and you have questions, feel free to kind of keep those in mind, and at the end we'll give you an opportunity to ask them. If you're live streaming with us, we have the comments open, so you can go ahead and ask a question that way, and we'll try to get an answer for you as well. So that's how we're going to work tonight, and we're going to turn it over to Sarah and David.
You were the Word at the beginning, the one with God, the Lord Most High. Your hidden glory in creation, now revealed in you are Christ. What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name. Nothing compares to this. What a beautiful name it is, the name of Jesus. You didn't want heaven without us, so Jesus, you brought heaven down. My sin was great, your love
Thanks, David and Sarah. That was beautiful. Again, we'd like to welcome you to the First Wednesday program. Those who are streaming online, those who have joined us in person, we appreciate you being here. There's a lot going on here at Faith Church, and the best way to stay abreast of that is to sign up to our website at faithchurchmn.org, or you can sign up for our newsletter. But Buck and I are going to run down a few of the things happening quickly here at Faith Church that are coming up soon. The first is Alpha is coming to Faith Church yet again. This is a chance to explore life's big questions. This is for people who might be new to the faith or not have a faith and have questions, or even wily veterans who want to explore things in a little bit different way. This will be held online beginning January 19th. You may sign up for that online at the website, and we'd love to have you join us for that.
We would. Be sure to take advantage of that. Also want to let you know that every third Thursday of the month, we provide a free meal for our community. And so that's coming up on January 21st of this month, and we're beginning to be serving hot meals to go. So if you are in need of a meal, we want to invite you to just come over, and we will get you set up with a good hot meal on that day to just make life a little bit easier. We know that's a struggle, and obviously that's why we're talking about some of those things even tonight. So we want to invite you to take care of that. And I've heard that we are having breakfast for dinner on the 21st, so you're going to want to be a part of that.
I'm interested suddenly. We realize that we've entered a new year in 2021, but we also realize that some of the challenges of 2020 may have followed us into the new year. So we just wanted to make folks available, aware of a new program, or a program that's been here at Faith for many years, the Stephen Ministry Program, which pairs people confidentially up with a resource, someone to sit and listen, to help them talk through their problems. It's, like I said, a confidential thing. If you feel like you're overwhelmed by life, or you could just use a helping hand in dealing with grief or mental issues or anything else, we just ask you to just talk to Buck or Debbie, and they can get you aligned with a resource that could really help.
Yeah, for sure. Please take advantage of that. We want to be here to help us all through this kind of crazy time we're all living in right now as well. The one thing, too, that we want to know, if you were here last month on the first Wednesday, we were talking about mental illness, and one of our own Steve Zare, who's our director of worship and fine arts, was talking about his journey with mental illness. And if you remember, he said he was about ready to have a book published. Well, that book is now available. It's called In Sickness and in Health. And it's available. It will be available through normal outlets, but we want to encourage you, before it really hits like Amazon and some of those other places, is to order it from Steve himself. The web address, or his email address, is on the slide, and we want to invite you to contact him, and you can get a book. They're not quite in town yet, but they're coming. So they've been printed, and they're in process of getting to us. So take advantage of that. It's a great story, but it also talks about the long, hard journey that Steve has had in his life with his wife Susie. So we want to encourage you to take advantage of that as well. So those are just some of the things that we are talking about here. Be sure, as Blake said, take a look at our website, and we do send out a weekly, 5 days a week, I should say, email with a little devotion, as well as a chance to keep abreast of what's going on in Faith. So those are some of the things that are going on. We're going to let Debbie come back on and give us a little intro into where we're going to go tonight. So thanks.
Sounds like I might not be on. There we go. Thank you, Buck and Blake, for that update of announcements. And what I'd like to do now is introduce you to the people who are here from ICA. We, again, are very privileged to have them join us tonight. The director of ICA is Dan Nahr, and he's just coming up now. Dan just joined ICA this past summer in the crazy midst of a COVID pandemic. So we are glad to have him with us. And Carrie Fisher is also here. Carrie works with the housing assistance as well as employment assistance for people at ICA. And so as we hear from them about ICA, you may find out about services that you didn't always associate with them. We'll turn it over to you, and at the end, if you want to open it for some questions, that would be great. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Debbie. Thank you for the invitation to come to Faith Church and be part of your community tonight and share a little bit more information about ICA Food Shelf. I'm Dan Nahr, Executive Director. This is Carrie Fisher, who is our Employment and Housing Specialist for ICA, and we'll be sharing kind of a story. We have a number of slides for you to share that we hope will just be a conversation with you and our audience who are here, and if you have questions, we'd certainly like to entertain those questions, even from our remote community out there in Streamland. But you know, Faith Church has been a great partner of ICA Food Shelf for a long time, volunteer-wise, a collaborative partner, financial support, and everything else. And it really does take a community to be able to do the programs that we do to serve our communities the way we serve our communities. ICA is one of the most well-respected food shelves in the Twin Cities area. We get a lot of comments with regards to the privileged and the humbling food shelf that we have in place that really represents a grocery store for our clients and our community to come in and take advantage of. Obviously, we've been hit heavily by COVID, and we've had to change our operations just like the church communities have changed their operations in terms of how we meet our clients and having to come in. It's no longer being able to come and shop for yourself, but it's more done curbside delivery, and we'll get into that a little bit. But as you think about our services and if you think about access to the populations that we're serving, think about the dignity and the respect values that we hold so dear that a lot of us can just take advantage of when we go to the grocery stores, and we are able to go to the shelves ourselves and pick out those food items that we take for granted and make a choice of what we want to have and what we want to buy. That's not necessarily true for our clients and the food shelf. We do our best to try to purchase and get donated food supplies that we're a Super Shelf certified program, so we really concentrate on nutrition. And it's a very important concept of what we do here in our community. But imagine if you didn't have that flexibility. I think we've seen a little bit of a dip in our numbers with regards to food to our communities who are coming into the food shelf. Typically, we've been about between 800 or 900 families coming in on a monthly basis to come and use our services. We've seen a bit of a dip since COVID for a number of reasons, but one of the things I want you to think about in terms of your faith community and how you can support your community at large is to think about access and transportation and how do we make that a better program for our community. I think transportation in particular is huge, knowing that we have the light rail system coming in the southwest region of our communities here. But you know, is that part of the answer? Our location is critical. We've seen a 40% increase in our food delivery programs for making deliveries to high rises where a large number of our clients live, home deliveries where people don't have access. So as we open our eyes and kind of explore new opportunities in the future, what does access look like? And I think that's a great conversation for all of us to be having in terms of who we serve in our communities. And you certainly are part of that answer. Churches are a huge part of who we are. We started back in 1971 with 5 churches who organized and supported and started ICA. We're going to be celebrating our 50th year anniversary this year, which is very exciting. And we plan on doing a huge celebration virtually, of course, which is unfortunate. But as we think about, and we're going into a huge strategic planning process with regards to what ICA is about, who are we serving, and as you think about ICA and you think about food insecurity, what does food insecurity really mean to you as an organization, as a family, as an individual? It has a deeper meaning, and access, of course, is another deeper meaning that we try to create and open up the avenues of discussion. So we're excited about the next steps of ICA. I often talk about ICA as a continuum of care, and you can kind of witness with regards to where we start and where we end. We're not a long-term solution, we're a short-term solution, but how do we look back at our programs that we're going to be showing you and talking about tonight? How can we reevaluate who we want to be in the future, and how do we reevaluate those equations into programs that fill the gaps within those continuums of care that will make a difference in how we do our programming. And we're very interested in not just being a stopgap, because we're basically the last stop before they have to go back to the general assistance program to the state of Minnesota. And we're trying to figure out how we can make sure that the continuum of care moves people beyond their means of struggle to self-sustainability. And I think sustainability is another equation, another one of those words that I think that you can kind of take a gander at and talk about. What does sustainability mean to you? What does stability mean to you? So those are just some of the overviews. Our mission basically is to really offer hope. And we take that very seriously. Like I said, we're a very short-term operation. We come when people are in crisis. We try to move beyond the crisis as fast as we can by the programs. We try to build that stability within the families that are coming to us for help. That stability is so important, especially in the short term, to help them stop, think, and realize the other resources that they have available to them in our community. And of course, we want to promote long-term well-being. And I think that's the catchword with long-term well-being of where we want to be in our future and where does ICA want to go. And we need faith communities like Faith Church to be part of that conversation. Our service area basically consists of 7 cities: Woodland, Deep Haven, Minnetonka, Hopkins, Greenwood, Excelsior, Shorewood. Did I miss anything? Hopkins, did I say Hopkins? Good. Gosh,
And
5 months and I still got it.
I would just say most of our clients come from Hopkins, Minnetonka, and Excelsior.
So we have 2 locations. We actually have our administration office where I reside in St. David's, next door to St. David's Church on St. David's Drive. And then our food shelf, which you know, which I believe you've been to and volunteered and so forth, is over at Catel Drive on the other side of Excelsior Boulevard. And when we think about the food shelf and the population, you know, there's generational poverty, situational poverty. We're seeing a lot of situational poverty in our communities today. And situational poverty, regardless of income, if you look at poverty as a continuum of care, poverty really is relative to regards to, it doesn't have effect on income, family size. Really, poverty is a situation where people are faced with a hardship all of a sudden, unexpectedly, and especially in this COVID environment, and the unemployment as a result of the COVID has risen drastically. And the result of it is, you can see by the map on I don't think you can see it at home yet. If we can go back to that on the screen. Thank you. The ICA clients are in the blue, and the ICA donors, just as respect of who we are in the red. And you can see it doesn't make any difference where you live, what your zip code is, what your address is. It's all relative with regards to what the need is out there. People face struggles all the time, and people find themselves in uncertain situations they never expected themselves to find themselves in. Okay, now it's going to go four slides right. But we're more than a food shelf. I think our name actually is a misnomer because we're more than a food shelf. We try to wrap around. We don't want to be just a short term. Like I said, we have wraparound services with regards to what we offer our programs. And we want to make sure that there is a means for an end with regards to moving those people beyond the struggles that they're facing and try to figure out how we can help them the best way we can. We have the food shelf, of course. We have the mobile food delivery program, which we talked about, which has increased 40% this year just because of COVID. People are isolated. People are in high rises. Senior citizens are scared. You know, they're more affected by the COVID virus. We want to make sure that they're safe and healthy. We do touchless, faceless, basically deliveries. Put the food in their lobby. They come down, get their food, and bring it back up to their locations. Homebound and mobile basically are basically 2 similar programs. Our school program, typically when kids are out of school in the summertime, we are giving them snacks, healthy snacks, and weekend bags of food through the school program. This year, because of COVID and because of remote learning, I applaud all you parents out there and all you students out there who are struggling with regards to making the best that you can make out of the distance learning program. I know it's been difficult for everybody, and I applaud you for going through and being successful and continuing your studies. But the school program has been extended for full year round because of the remote opportunities of having to stay home and so forth. And then, of course, we have the homeless prevention, the rent, utilities, and bus passes, and Carrie, the and housing coordinator here, or manager, with regards to employment assistance. One of the things we didn't expect this year that we really blew out of the water was the unemployment. We have seen a significant rise in rental assistance program. Typically, ICA has budgeted about $100,000 annually to support rent assistance. We don't do mortgage assistance, but we do rental assistance. We've seen we spent over $500,000 this year alone in rental assistance, and we are continuing to see the rise. And our fear is, in coming 2021, what's the eviction rate from those rental assistants who can't find those funds any longer? We work with the city of Minnetonka, the city of Hopkins in particular. The city of Minnetonka has stepped up to the plate, and they have provided funding for us in 2021 with an additional $50,000 locally here to help support rental assistance, which we're very thankful for. We're working with the cities very closely and the community development managers very closely, giving them monthly updates on what the activity we are seeing at the food shelf and how they can help and how they can bring it to their council and talk about solutions of helping and making a partnership work between all of us. Carrie, I'm going to turn it over to you a little bit and let you talk about some of the employment and housing.
Okay. Hello, I just want to say thank you for having us here. I'm Carrie Fisher. I've been the employment consultant at ICA for about 10 years. I'm very proud to be a part of ICA. We have a very talented and dedicated staff, and now we're lucky enough to have Dan join us. And I also want to say thank you for your continued support. So I'm the employment consultant, so all employment comes through me. I've kind of designed the program, and I've had to tweak it over the years. And typically, we do pretty well. We employ about 50% of the people that come in, but people that come in to see me have barriers that either prevent them from getting employment or prevent them from keeping employment. So I often have people returning to ICA to get another job. I'm always open. There's no limit to the amount of times I will see them, because people are always, they think there's, oh, can I come again? Sure you can. And I've seen people for years on and off. I also see people who I call marginally employed. They have one job, maybe two jobs, but it's not enough to self-sustain them. And they are continually looking for a better job, for a higher paying job. Because of some of and I think we've learned this through COVID, some of the most essential jobs are paid the least. And CNA would be a really good example. I just want to say, and we're going to get to other slides about employment and homelessness, but should we go to it? Sure. So ICA's, and by the way, ICA is a bunch of churches. It stands for Intercongregational Association. And I had a friend once who said they thought it stood for I See a Food Shelf. Anyway, I really appreciate the support from all the churches in the community, and we use our funds that we have received previously, and a portion of that goes to keep people in their homes, homelessness prevention. And that really means we can only pay for a month or two and pay utilities, and that's why, and we have 2 case managers that meet with clients, work with them in their finances, to help them stay in their homes, but it's not a permanent. We can't permanently pay for their rent, so they also send people who are struggling to me if they need a job or they need a higher paying job. So we work together to keep people in their homes. And as Dan mentioned, of course now there's so many people without jobs, and they're worried about their rent. But we have had a lot of money coming through that we have been in charge of distributing. So the city of Minnetonka gave us a large chunk. We got some from Hopkins. Excelsior, I think, is going to donate some. And then we got some from the county, the state, and the federal government. So our case managers were extremely busy in December handing out that money because people had to fill out forms and show that it was COVID related, because it was COVID money from the CARES Act and other things that Congress and the government have initiated. But we still have clients who were struggling before COVID. So ICA can still use some of our own money to help keep those clients still in their homes. So. And then I also wanted to, since we're talking about homelessness, the other aspect of ICA that we've been kind of working, it's accelerating a little bit, is advocacy. So we have members of our staff who are on a Hopkins housing team, which we are represented there with Hopkins community members. And then we also have a Minnetonka community housing team that has dedicated community members, and ICA also works and is represented on that team. Both those teams are under the umbrella of the Suburban Hennepin Housing Coalition, which ICA was one of the founding partners about 5 or 6 years ago, and it includes about 15 cities in the southwest metro area, the whole kind of western north-south side. And we've had lots of informational sessions and door knocking. Some of them do door knocking to help advocate for affordable housing for the people living in our communities. So ICA represents there. And as well, I serve on the Employment and Income Committee for Hennepin County. So, and that is under the Community of Care umbrella for Hennepin County, which every city in the nation has a community of care, because that's how we get HUD dollars and funding from the federal government. So this committee is under within the Community of Care of Hennepin County, and so we work to promote employment to keep people in their homes. Once again, homelessness prevention, and we've had some very interesting sessions recently, virtual, and the last one was on youth. We had two sessions about youth getting jobs and housing, and the second session we had 2 young men come and speak with us. So it was a highlight for all the service providers that were on the Zoom meeting, because we invite about 320 some people to the meetings, and we get about 60 typically to a meeting. So we try to promote each other's services and collaborate, and so we're really proud to be involved in promoting the suburbs as part of the Hennepin County teams. Oh, the Hopkins, what we're doing? Yeah, so as I mentioned, the Hopkins and Minnetonka housing teams have been we've been active. We've had kind of a slowdown with COVID. We didn't know what to do. I think everyone kind of came to a stop in April and May, March, April, May. But we've restarted again, and really some of the things we're working on is we're working on tenant protection. So for example, in Minnetonka, someone can get evicted without any notice. So we would like to protect tenants from getting evicted without any preparation and nowhere to go. We're also working on just affordable housing in Minnetonka. And a lot of people call it workforce housing, because we have people here that work in the restaurants we love, they work in the shops that we love to shop in, and they get paid lower wages, and we want them to be able to live in the communities where they work. So we have been trying to promote that with the city council. We go to their meetings, we meet with the council members, and one council member, Kissy Coakley, she joins our Minnetonka team quite often. And part of that affordable housing is kind of broken down into two parts. It would be new developments that are coming in, and then natural occurring affordable housing that's already there. We want to prevent a big developer from coming in and changing it from affordable housing, fixing it up and charging, doubling or tripling the rent so that the people that live there can no longer live there. And that happens quite a bit. And also in Hopkins, something else we're very concerned with is gentrification. The University of Minnesota has targeted Hopkins as in danger of gentrification, which part of this would include the elimination of the natural affordable housing in the area. So that would just mean, getting rid of some of the older buildings and putting in fancy new ones and just charging more for services and rent. So we're going to have some discussion about that and talk to the city council and just promote the housing and shops that are there already, and not, try to keep the city livable for our workforce community. Should we go on to employment? I think that's next.
Sure.
Okay.
It'll be great. Just as affordable housing is a big issue, we're involved in a lot of the projects that are in development with the city. We work with the community development managers directly with our concerns. Our committees, both in Hopkins and Minnetonka, are really well versed in some of the situations that we try to persuade the cities to say we want more than 8 or 10% affordable homes in our community. Diversity is richness in our community. It enlivens our community, and we want to make sure that the diversity is a strength that we all envelop as our values as a community, and inviting our neighbors to be neighbors. So it's really a vital program. We're up against some really tough decisions and makers in terms of trying to convince our communities affordable housing is a necessary curriculum that we need to be on. We're trying to get community. Part of our jobs is really to engage the community and get them in conversations and get them involved. We want to be the organizers and give them the voice to be able to go and be part of the solution. That's another way that we would seek partnership in both Minnetonka and in Hopkins with regards to making sure that you have the voice. When we're trying to create a monthly meeting on a Zoom call with our community members and kind of unpacking the terminology of what affordable housing means. So it comes down to common language that we all can use and the importance of what that means to us, and embrace and be able to kind of move the agenda forward with regards to some of our goals and objectives. I've only been here 5 months.
So, like I mentioned earlier, I've been the employment counselor or consultant since 2011, and ICA did not have employment until that time, and we added it at that time. And I typically see 100, 120 people a year. This year, it's gone down a little bit, and typically we employ about 50% of the people, as I mentioned. My background is in business, so I did not work in a social service agency before. So as I have worked at ICA, I have learned so much through my clients. They are amazing people. I can't even tell you how amazing they are. I had a client once when I first started. She had gone to high school with John Grisham. I just have so many stories. I had an ophthalmologist from Africa who she came in one day and had this big red blob on my eye, and so I said, "You're a doctor, tell me what that is." So I just have, we have amazing clients, and when I meet with someone about trying to help them find a job, I have to go through their work history, which really is your life history. So I learn all about their lives. It's always confidential. I tell them I'm honored for you to share your life with me and what's happened, and good and bad, and it stays in this office. But the more I know about somebody, the more I can help them. So for example, if they have a criminal background, or if they got fired, or they had to just quit because they didn't get along with a manager. I just need to know those things so that I can help them, talk during an interview and get around those blocks. But as I mentioned also earlier, most of our clients that come in, they do come in because they don't have sustaining employment. And they also have many barriers. It could be their education, it could be their health, could be their age. There is age discrimination out there. So they do have many barriers. Sometimes they just don't know how to act in a work environment. So when I first started, the director at that time, she told me to meet clients where they're at. So that's what I try to do all the time. Where they're at, what they need, that's where I try to go. And before COVID, I would meet people in coffee shops, libraries, if they couldn't get to the food shelf. Or if they couldn't meet during hours, I would meet after hours if they had a job, which would be wonderful to have a job. So anyway, what I do typically is, what I used to do is meet with them. The average would be about 2 to 3 times, maybe an hour a piece meetings, and go through a resume. When I first started, I wanted to help people make a resume, but after talking to some of my fellow employment partners, I thought, oh, I'll just do the resume. So I do a lot of resumes. I have found a format that works really well with application software, and also the applicant tracking system, which many companies use. I also help people with cover letters and references. I once had a young man had his mom on as a reference, and I said, no, you can't use your mom. So I try to help them with a good reference from someone at work. And we've also practiced interviewing skills. I like to take someone in the office who they haven't met with, and I would have a mock interview sheet and just have them go in and pretend to mock interview with somebody. And also, I do a lot of job search, and this year I'm very excited ICA purchased a tool with our community partners. It's called the TNR, Talent Neuron Recruit Tool from Real-Time Talent. And it's a fancy computer program that takes all the labor data, all the job data, all the occupation data in one place. And it helps you focus on the right job for the right person. And we just got it, and I have had a couple clients get jobs through using the tool. So I'm very excited about that. And also something I'm very excited about this year is through COVID, me and my employment partners, and when I say that I mean other employment consultants at WeCan in Mound, Prop in Eden Prairie, Interfaith Outreach in Wayzata, Plymouth, and then the Jewish Family and Children's Services. We have formed a group, and we've met pretty regularly to help each of us help our clients get jobs. We share jobs, we share practices, and we came up with a COVID job packet that we all could use this year. So that has been very exciting. And like I mentioned, we shared the cost of the TNR tool, so we reduced it by a fourth. So it was, and we've been training together with the consultant from that company. So I'm very excited about where employment is going. There are jobs out there. People are very hesitant, though, right now to go and look for them, and I'm not sure why. So.
We have about 4 minutes left with our presentation, and I want to make sure that you hear from one of our clients directly. We have a little video of one of our clients that we'd like to share with you tonight, and hear firsthand the impact that we've made for this particular client.
I was like, now what? What do I do? Where do I turn? How do I get help, you know?
Once Corona hit, everything just went like literally flipped.
Just not knowing if I would have a job the next day or the day after that was really stressful.
I did home improvement and demolition, so it was pretty much a 7 to 7 job.
And he was working all the time. He works hard to take care of his family, but you know, this came and he just wasn't able to get back to work.
We bridge the gap between your everyday life and things going just well, and when crisis occurs, we help you navigate how to handle that and where you can get your needs met.
I got like a bag of noodles and maybe some salt and pepper in my cupboard, and that's just about it. So I Googled food shelves near me, and this place popped up.
Our mission at ICA is to help our neighbors in need. We provide them with food, rental assistance and financial assistance, and employment assistance.
He said, you can come in and get an emergency bag of food today if you want, and we'll set you up an appointment tomorrow.
This one literally took me by surprise. Just the whole system and how it worked, it just blew my mind, honestly. Variety was very, very big. And they pretty much had everything you would get from a regular grocery store.
When someone walks through our door, we don't know what situations and history and experiences they're bringing with them. And so when I meet with someone, I try to explain that we're just here to help.
Last month, I was a little bit short on my rent payment, and I contacted Jessie, and she sent me an application to get rental assistance, and she worked swiftly. That helped us out so much. It was just like a really big breath of fresh air. I appreciate it more than anything. I am grateful for that.
A few months ago, I was contacted by a small family-owned business growing so fast that they needed employees. So I sent out some notes to my local employment partners and also told our case managers.
Patrick came into my office. He was very motivated, and I thought, oh, Patrick would be perfect for that because he lives nearby and he needed a job close and he needed a job today.
So within an hour, Krista emailed me and said, I think I have somebody for you.
She says, Patrick, are you looking for a job? Yeah. She says, there's a place right next door to us and they really need somebody. Well, that's great. I said, because I'm only like 5 minutes from you right now.
So we literally walked over there. He met with another member of the family-owned business, and then they hired him later that afternoon. I feel very strongly about giving to organizations that help people help themselves, and that's what ICA does. My clients have taught me so much about life, humility, and gratitude.
We're keeping our community healthy by keeping all of our clients healthy and happy.
This isn't a place that makes you feel, that'll make you feel ashamed to go to. They treat you like you're human. They make you feel right at home.
I tell somebody to humble themselves and realize no one's ever not going to need help. Because I'm prideful, definitely when it came to the food shelf thing.
I love this place, you know. I'll be a part of it, or it'll be a part of me for, I think, the rest of my life. I'm so thankful and so grateful for what they have done and what they are doing for me. There are so many people in this community that need help. So if you can help, you know, it doesn't matter how big or small, please do. Please do it.
We see Patrick a lot. He's right next door to our food shelf in another business that Carrie got a job for him there. I see him in the parking lot. I stop and say hi to him and check in on him. And just recently, just a few weeks ago, just before the holidays, I ran into Patrick and asked him how he was doing. And he said, Dan, I'm doing great. I've been promoted. I've gotten a raise. And I'm running the place, basically. So, I mean, it's just a great, great success story about the work that we're doing here in our community. And so I think what you saw one of the clients talk about the stigma. You know, that's one of the things we have to overcome in our community, stigma. We all need help at some point. We're all humbled. We're all there, you know, to help support our neighbors. And we're really trying to remove that label and remove stigma from who we are. We're just here to serve our community, no questions asked. Thank you so much tonight.
Well, we do want to thank you, Dan and Carrie, for your time tonight and for helping us understand a lot more of what ICA does. Really appreciated that note of hope from a client as well and understanding that as well. So I think we've kind of run out of time. We're not going to have a lot of time for questions, but if you do have questions for them, for those of you who are here, we're going to have a little bit of time for small group discussion. And you can ask questions in there as well. And if people have live streamed us questions, we'll try and get those answered. Do you have any live stream questions right now that we need to? Okay. All right. So we're good on that. So thank you both very much for being here tonight, and we appreciate that. I do want to give you information. We are doing a special ICA drive this month in particular, and so up until the 15th of January, we are trying to raise some extra funds for ICA, and you can do that at our website, faithchurchmn.org, at the Give Plus button. And we'd like to really support them in a big way. If you want to drop off food here, you can do that. We have a cart sitting outside here, and if you want to drop by on a Wednesday or a Sunday when the building's open, you can drop off food. But one of the things that we're hearing from them is that it is really important to also have the financial donations, because they are being asked to do a lot more of the rental assistance things as well. So if you're in a position where you can give some to the financial side of that, that is also very much appreciated. So we're really grateful for that. Want to let you know about what's coming next. Our next First Wednesday will be February 3rd, and at that time we are going to be delving into the topic of racism, and we have an evening called Love Seeks to Understand. We're going to be breaking down racism in our city and in our hearts. We will be bringing Officer Scott Marks as our speaker that night, and he's going to talk to us about the realities of racism right here in Minnetonka. And then we're also going to talk about how did we get here, maybe view a video on some of the things that have brought us this place, and then what does it take to try to end racism. So we hope that you will all come back and join us then, and appreciate everyone's time tonight. We'll see you then, and if you're here for small groups, we can do that separately. So thank you all for being with us.